A race through South America. 9,000 miles from Cartagena, Colombia, down to Buenos Aires, Argentina. The first ever Trans-Amazon Rally adventure. Scores of vehicles from the United States and 10 other countries will compete for the next month. Drivers must face brutal roads, exhaustion, and accidents in the world's longest and most challenging off-road rally. Their route will slice across the Amazon jungle and the high Andes. Vast stretches of the Argentine pampas, rugged deserts, and cold, deep rivers. Through it all, the scenery of the spectacular South American continent. That's how the Trans-Amazon Rally was promoted. Ten miles from the old walled city of the Spanish conquistadores, along the Boca Grande beach, the departure of the Trans-Amazon is set.
We'd like to be on the Johnny Carson show.
Oh, come on.
When we get back, maybe Johnny will ask us on.
Although most of the 250 competitors have high expectations, Buenos Aires seems farther than the moon. The organizers have gone bankrupt.
That's my cousin. Ask her.
$150,000 are needed now just to start the race. Most racers chip in to get the race launched, knowing there will be none of the guaranteed medical help, food, or supplies. A few competitors pull out of the event. But veteran off-roaders love the challenge. Ron Clybourne from Seattle.
For the first time in international motorsports history, the entrants have gathered together and actually taken control of a major international motoring event.
From Fort Lauderdale, Charlie Pete and his Harley Davidson.
This is the longest race. It's almost 9,000 miles, and the cars can break down just from that length of time. I mean, nobody runs 9,000 miles.
Chris Cavini of Northbrook, Illinois, with 10 years of motocross experience, worries about the weather.
I think the toughest thing will be the extreme differences in climates, from the Atacama Desert to high up in the Andes Mountains. We'll have to be prepared for many types of weather in one day, carrying enough clothes to stay warm and stay cool.
Worries also for this World War II truck.
It's the 600 miles a day that's going to kill us. That's going to take us forever. Speed's what really bothers me. I think the truck will make it.
The bankrupt organizers are ousted, and the Colombian Auto Federation steps in to pull things together during the last 24 hours. The locals, however, enjoy the delays. Racers have come from all over the world. Japan's super gals, big stars at home. Their exploits have included parachuting from Tokyo skyscrapers and hang gliding from Mount Fuji. Dutch champion Peter Hardstein, a seasoned racer in the only other rally like this, Paris-Dakar.
I think the first rally in the Trans-Amazon is very difficult. Nobody knows nothing.
They're not on time, no road book at all, nothing.
Hardstein is only half right. There is a road book, the important guide with detailed maps of each day's route. But it's been prepared by a French company, and in the chaos of the departure, the local auto federations decide not to use it. Clearly, this is to be a unique road rally.
Car number 74, we plan on winning the race.
Up to the starting line. Finally, armed with a tourist map instead of the road book, the Trans-Amazon Rally Adventure is off. For the Colombians, this is a national event. Just past the start, the first breakdowns. From Palos Verdes, California, Bug is on. Pilot Lorenzo Pearson.
Nothing. We advanced it too far and put some lean jets for altitude in it. It's just running a little warm. We don't want to burn the motor up, so we decided we'd stop and retime it.
Our challenge of day one, to race 350 miles from Cartagena to Cucuta, near the Venezuelan border. In this type of marathon, there are two kinds of race against the clock. One goes from checkpoint to checkpoint in a prescribed time, set to the second. These runs are known as transport sections. The second kind of race involves great distances without time or speed limits. May the fastest car win. These sections usually cross dangerous and very bad roads. In racing terms, they're known as primes or specials. The Trans-Amazon's first special takes place in the foothills of the Andes Mountains. For the next 9,000 miles, competitors will be clocked in both transport and specials, with the final results to be announced in Buenos Aires. Dusk on day one. The racers arrive in the isolated town of Abrigo in eastern Colombia. Given all the day's delays, the final 60 miles of the special must be run in pitch dark on an extremely rough road. This special ends in death.
When it's happened?
No, from Chile. José Luis Baroli.
Chile's champion team slammed off the road at full speed, instantly killing both drivers. 6 a.m. Cucuta. The rally mood is grim. Yet another Chilean car had rolled its driver hospitalized.
The first day was incredibly tough. Incredibly tough. But we're not giving up yet.
Drivers had raced all night.
Oh, very tired.
How was the first day for you?
Oh, it was easy. Want to do it again.
At the start of day two, many cars are still missing, trapped by a landslide back up in the mountains.
This is crazy.
We don't have a rear rack of spare tires, so you're going to have to be careful.
It is the first run in the high Andes, fog so bad at 11,000 feet that the local cabbies prefer to wait. The racers have no choice. There are 450 miles to Colombia's capital city of Bogotá. Bogotá, day 3, 6 a.m. It will be a long day with 400 miles of specials, mostly on the rough back roads of central Colombia. The drivers, however, are beginning to hit their stride.
I think he's done a pretty good job, and every day the rally gets better and better.
I think it's very well organized. I like the Colombian attitude. The people seem to have done a really good job of setting it up.
It looks like it's just going to be another ride for us. We'll just cross the Andes a couple times today, and we'll get in sometime after dark.
During the morning, the only complaint involves the speed of the rally. It comes from Frenchman Bernard Cobb, racing for Venezuela.
No, it's not so far. I think it's too slow. Too slow.
At Ugara, the rally enters territory controlled by the M-19, a Marxist guerrilla group. The U.S. State Department warns travelers to stay away to avoid kidnapping, torture, and death. This is retaliation for the jailing of Colombian drug lords in the United States. The Colombians simply advise racers to keep on moving. The advice is hard to follow. Approaching La Plata, allegedly a cocaine production center, the rally encounters nothing but enthusiastic fans. In fact, as the day wears on, there are no signs of guerrilla activity throughout the beautiful countryside. Perhaps the Colombian Auto Federation has arranged a truce with the guerrilla group. It is certainly made clear that the rally should avoid downtown La Plata and its old cathedral. Still in M-19 territory, Bugazon breaks down 20 miles outside of Popayán.
We were doing so good too, but what can you say?
We'll be better tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow. It's a good thing we got that rear fix last night or we would have been in big trouble.
The next morning in Popayán, reports that after the last racers had entered the city limits, Colombian soldiers engaged the M-19 in a shootout. Death toll 8.
Last night I got in the hotel, and the first thing I did was get in the shower, and the second thing I did was start taking my clothes off.
That's how Charlie, with his Harley, recouped from yesterday's splash in deep mud. Day 4, from Popayán, Colombia to Quito, Ecuador, 400 miles. On this last day in Colombia, the rally's shortcomings are evident. Missing a computer, the Colombian organizers cannot give daily race results. There will be no official classifications until Ecuador. But offsetting the bad news is the spontaneous generosity of Colombia's racing fans.
Pony, para que tomen.
Ecuador. National radio carries the Trans-Amazon's arrival live at the border.
La prueba, es decir, en lo que respecta al Ecuador, nos indica el tiempo límite que tienen para...
The dramatic city of Quito, altitude 2 miles high. The racers are given their first day of rest after 1,400 miles. In the 16th century, Quito served as a capital for the Incas, but today there is little sign of their civilization. One of the few vestiges of Inca life sits high above Quito, a giant barrel to store water for firefighting. Back at the hotel, the Miami Herald carries a front-page story about the Chilean racer's death. Outside, racers prep for the next day.
We understand the roads up there are ridiculous.
We're going up to 12,000 feet tomorrow, gravel roads,
opposite banks. It's going to be a heavy-duty day tomorrow, so we're getting ready for it.
On day 6, Quito to Ambato, Ecuador, 380 miles.
Far ahead, it's ridiculous.
One of the more high-spirited competitors, Paul Schaefer of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
76, good luck.
Buenos dias, senor.
His dubious lead here is instantly challenged by Ron Clybourne of Seattle. By 8 in the morning, racers are crossing the Andes, dropping down their eastern slope into the Amazon jungle. The day's real challenge begins at Baeza, Ecuador, with a grueling special over the next 200 miles.
9-11-00, go!
Less than halfway into the course, cars begin to die out.
The guy swerved in front of me, and I hit the brake and went off the road.
Broke our rear spring mount bolts here, and both sides tore loose. We just had to remove the shock absorbers. Yeah, really break down in the middle of a jungle.
Yeah, Buenos Aires? You will see us in Buenos Aires. Bye.
Argentine Juan de Four is lucky to find a tow truck. For many racers, the rally ended this day, 7,000 miles from Buenos Aires. Ambato, Ecuador, day 7, with 390 miles charted, mainly on the Pan American Highway. The day is welcomed, especially by the bikers.
I'm glad today's a little easier because I've got real weak brakes, so get in early tonight, I can fix them and be ready for the next day.
Competitors enjoy their local fan clubs until the nuns show up.
The Colombian results came out. It showed me officially last, but I was a little disappointed they corrected it, and now I'm not last anymore.
In the rally's first official classifications, Robin Bennett of Mason City, Iowa is first among the cyclists. Russell Gooding of Great Britain first among the cars. Racers see some of the most beautiful scenery in Ecuador, the Chimborazo volcano, the lush central valley of the Ecuadorian Andes. As for the famous Pan American Highway, it seems as if someone ran out of asphalt. Arriving in Cuenca at day's end, racers find the city almost shut down. With a presidential election a month away, university students have just finished a small riot. On the 8th day, the rally requires 350 miles on rough roads from Cuenca to Loja, Ecuador. Even the normally easy transport section takes a heavy toll of vehicles.
No, we need a boat steering. I think the steering arm just came off there.
And that is only a warm-up for the brutal 250-mile special. Conditions worsen as the altitude drops. Drivers find themselves back in the mud of the Amazon jungle basin. Hours are lost to breakdowns.
Both wheels came off that side. We lost 6 of the studs. They broke off, so we're going to try to pull some of the studs out on this side and put them over there. See if we can't get enough going to get wheels on each side. I wouldn't go underneath there.
The day ends as competitors cross the Zamora River, one of many which feed the Amazon. Day 9 and the last stop in Ecuador, the small dusty town of Loja.
How was your day yesterday? Broken car, broken shots, broken people, broken hearts.
Well, it was nice except 2 flat tires and 150 miles of mud. But then at the very end of it was lovely. I got washed off going down the stream.
This was a tough day yesterday. 3 tires and smashed the side of the car up, moved my axle back 6 inches.
But this is no pit stop. It's on to Peru. Luckily, the 100 miles to the border are relatively easy, with some interesting scenery along the way. The border at Macara, Peru. Peru is torn by Latin America's deadliest guerrilla movement, Sendero Luminoso, the Shining Path. The Trans-Amazon races right into its territory. Competitors hustle along as best they can. The rally cuts into its first desert, the Sechura with its shifting sands, before arriving in the oasis town of Chiclayo. The 10th day starts early and badly in Chiclayo. Not enough road books to go around, and those which are available prove inaccurate. We set out for the Inca Trail. End up changing 2 tires with no signs of anyone around, and spend the whole day lost on a high, dusty plateau. In fact, most drivers barely make it to Trujillo in time for the next day's departure. Peru's champion, Alfredo Bergna, quits in frustration.
They direct me around 2 times. I passed 2 times the starting line, and so far it's been a little tough for us since we're entering, I think, the 9th day of the race, and we still don't have any results.
France's Michel Barthez said he won the special. He was the only one not to get lost. The rally is in such chaos that the drivers are ordered to Lima for a 3-day layover. Race director Leo Barbosa.
It seems that too many cars were stranded out in the mountains, and then there's very few that are in really conditions to do another prime.
The day's special is canceled.
Well, you can do it also.
But photographer Jérôme Delay has a copy of the rejected French road book. We decide to try its route from Trujillo to Lima, billed as very dramatic. It's a day of moderately hard driving, climbing into harsh mountains. These 12-year-olds may be working the world's highest coal mine. Villages are tucked between two major mountain ranges known as the White and the Black Andes. Here, alpaca wool is spun into yarn. The most difficult driving comes with the high altitude. Engines struggle at 15,000 feet. We decide it's time to head for Lima after all.
But we got to stop traffic or else.
In Lima, the rally is totally bogged down. The delays blamed on the Shining Path guerrillas. Again, there are no classifications or road books, but the Peruvians are promising both by the end of the layover. As departure day arrives, there are racers without vehicles. Stuart Hillier from Dallas has his bike stolen.
Yeah, I went back. I spent 36 hours in a truck. I drove that road 3 times, once on the bike and twice in the truck.
From Quito.
Still no road book.
It's a couple weeks old, but it's probably just as good as what we don't have today.
And still no classifications.
You have 18 in the classification, and the rest in the no-classification. It's just quite, it's like a car and stacker, it's quite simple.
Where is the car? As far as the car.
For others, the classifications are irrelevant. Off to Sinaguia for the long-awaited special.
It certainly appears that the prime might start right here.
The steep 10-mile run up to 12,000 feet makes for red-hot engines. The icy 3-foot waters take care of the rest. Ecuador's champion, Gonzalo Montalvo. Montalvo and his co-pilot have to manhandle their car to the other shore. For others, towing is the only solution. A few well-prepared cars do manage to barrel across. Charlie Pete needs an hour to dry out his Harley.
Ground it out. See you in Nazca.
Thanks, Paul. Some will see you in Nazca. 400 miles away, some won't. The killer special ends on the western side of the mountains. What spectators there are have little to watch. Many competitors never make it, including Dutch champion Peter Hardstein. The Trans-Amazon ends here for the Super Gals video crew. Hospitalized in critical condition, they will never see Buenos Aires, now 4,000 miles away. Nazca at dawn, day 15. While racers head for the starting line, we head for the famous Nazca lines. Some believe them to be the landing sites of extraterrestrials. The astronaut, the spider, and the monkey, all dating back 2,000 years. On to Arequipa, Peru, 420 miles. Today's problem, stolen gas.
Well, we don't know, we're 400 some kilometers short of a full tank. It's kind of mysterious.
Day 16, the last in Peru, a 400-mile special from Arequipa to Arica, Chile. Charging up the Andes again, here at 12,000 feet, crossing high plateaus dotted with volcanoes. The locals have a great time. Certainly, they've never seen a tire like this.
Nothing. There's nowhere to buy one.
Bad luck for John Bierce of Washington, Illinois.
Yeah, but that puts us out.
A car driven by a high-ranking military officer collides with his, sending the officer's wife and children to the hospital. For Bierce, the race seems to be over.
The road wasn't closed.
Well, there isn't any way the road was closed. What's he doing here if the road was closed?
The accident occurred 5 miles from the border with Chile. Amazingly, Bierce shows up for the next day's start in Arica, Chile. Today's special is one of the longest and most arid in the Trans-Amazon. 320 miles across desert and salt beds, among the driest places on Earth. 320 miles with no place to refuel. A navigational error takes California's Lorenzo Pearson into Bolivia, where he will be jailed and then robbed. The cyclists run out of gas near the Bolivian border at 13,000 feet. They wait 3 hours for a resupply.
How far is it to the end?
100 kilometers.
But for cousins Andreas and Javier Sacio of La Jolla, California, there is no gas for their Nissan.
He could spare a couple gallons, but his tank has a mesh.
Convoy down there, and if anything, I think it's all downhill.
How far?
80 kilometers.
By the 17th day, Venezuela's Bernard Cav is first, Seattle's Ron Clybourne second, and Russell Gooding of England third. Chile's sportscaster reminded viewers that two of their countrymen had died in the Trans-Amazon. This evening, exhausted racers have to sit through the local welcoming ceremonies, which last most of the night. Day 18. From Pica to San Pedro de Atacama. The course hugs Chile's border with Bolivia. Altitudes range from 10 to 14,000 feet. The road leads to so-called solars, dry lake beds and craters of old volcanoes. One competitor trying a shortcut is trapped in thick tar, hiding under the lake's salty crust. In the rescue, a second car is also caught. Ultimately, it takes two more cars, 2 winches, and 3 hours to free both vehicles. Within minutes, the next emergency. John Bierce's co-pilot is accidentally hit while taking pictures. In shock, he is transported over brutal roads to a military base. From there, he's airlifted to medical care.
Broke his ankle, broke his leg in 2 places, severely cut his arm here.
You're John, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
After an overnight bivouac without water, on day 19 we face Chile's Atacama Desert in a run of 350 miles.
Vamos a tener que esperar 3 minutos. 3, 2, 1, go. Have a nice time.
He may have lost his co-pilot, but John Bierce is determined to push on.
Reassembled it, and we have pretty good brakes.
By now, most drivers and their support teams spend their nights repairing the day's destruction. Dawn at Tal, Chile. Most racers have slept on the beach where it's raining, a place where it never rains.
It rains only every 2 years, and we happen to sleep out in front of it.
Little Chilean conchita that gave me a back rub. Wonderful.
At least it's not snowing.
Terrible.
Rob Shirley of Knoxville, Tennessee.
I got caught behind the Supergirls double team. Boy, I ate all that dust.
Among the cyclists, Robin Bennett is firming up his hold on first place. And Venezuela's Bernard Cav is first among the cars. But 5 miles out from the starting line, on day 20, Bennett lands in big trouble.
I'll be okay. Hands okay.
Hands okay.
Collarbone.
Calambre.
Collarbone. Shoulder.
Shoulder. Okay. You can move it.
Yeah.
You have the figure 8 bandage. I don't have any bandage.
Right here, right?
Yeah. Right here. Fix it so I can finish is all I want. Finish.
Bennett's collarbone was smashed when he took his bike off the highway into a jump for a Japanese photographer. There are insufficient bandages, so Rob Shirley gives up his, despite a broken rib.
Don't say anything about that. That's why I feel.
God damn, Dad.
You're white as a ghost, kid. You.
Stupid move.
The only good news of the day, a real hotel with hot showers. By the next morning in La Serena, Bennett is back on his bike.
Not bad. I thought I'd be a lot stiffer than I am, so I feel real good. I'll be okay.
But at the departure line in Coquimbo, Bennett needs help to start the sophisticated KTM bike. In the process, his father almost breaks a few bones too.
God damn, Dad. You all right? Huh?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Bennett takes off with everyone else toward Vina del Mar, 340 miles away. The rally heads onto the isolated stretches of central Chile. Here, the Trans-Amazon had to share the road with local gauchos on their daily roundup. Thanks perhaps to the Trans-Amazon, this burro escapes. It's back onto the Pan American Highway for the last 50 miles into Vina del Mar. In the summer, Vina del Mar is one of Latin America's most popular resorts. For the Trans-Amazon, it's the last stop in Chile.
We're looking forward to going up into the mountains and kind of playing in the snow. Might even
We have a time card?
Time card.
120 miles now to the Argentine border, from sea level to 12,000 feet. The Andes so rugged that a tunnel cuts through them into Argentina. Once through the mountains, the rally moves easily down to Tunuyam for an overnight in a gymnasium. Day 23 is the longest, moving 480 miles from the foothills of the Andes down to the Argentine Pampas. The weather cold, the driving relentless.
Later.
Shooting across vast stretches of very rough, open terrain, drivers experience unusual breakdowns. A mainspring snaps on this car. Ironically, what had not been a problem in the desert becomes one here. Sand trapping the two-wheel drive cars. Native gauchos help to extricate the Sasio cousins from California. Fuel is in short supply all day. One vehicle races with an open door, checking for leaks from a punctured gas tank.
I gave all my fuel to Stanley, now I'm out of fuel. Would you tell somebody that I need fuel back here?
Some racers take all night to make the next day's starting line deep in the Pampas. Charlie Pete and his Harley are missing.
But the Harley...
What number? What number?
What number is it? I don't know.
The first.
What did fifth moto come in?
Cyclist Rob Shirley last saw him yesterday in the middle of nowhere. But as usual, there is no time to wait. The rally is headed out to Bahia Blanca on the Argentine coast.
Well, another day in Argentina. Only 2 more to go.
3.
3 more to go, that's correct.
With 800 miles left to Buenos Aires, our exhausted Scout International decided to rest.
Welcome to Argentina.
The rally moved from Bahia Blanca to Las Flores, the next to last day. Here, the last special is an easy 200 miles. The racers are ready for the end and not in a mood to hassle with Argentina's famous cattle. At the checkpoint ending the special, bad news about the Super Gals.
Yeah, we were the first car up for the accident.
Oh boy. It was bad?
Yeah, they flipped it on the straightaway, and they think that the navigator, that she may have a broken sternum.
The Japanese media is especially concerned.
Oh, she had like a broken... No, I think her sternum. Because the doctor, Gaston, the cardiologist, he gave her some morphine. And she had
The badly injured navigator, Aki, was rushed to the hospital, where her heart stopped twice.
But Marina wasn't hurt.
How you doing, George?
There is some good news. Charlie Pete is back.
2 days ago, where did you go?
Well, the map I was given wasn't quite right. There was, where they showed a road, it wasn't a road, it was the border between 2 provinces. And where there really was a road, it wasn't on the map. So I ended up at midnight out in the boonies and in deep sand, and I got my front wheel caught in the sand, and it spun around, and it jerked so hard I broke the handlebars off. 2 half-inch bolts just broke. So I was going along at 30 miles an hour with my handlebars in my hand. And needless to say, I crashed pretty good. And then I left for Bahia Blanca, and I got into, that was about 600 kilometers more, so I got into Bahia Blanca about 8 o'clock. But it meant that I'd been on riding my motorcycle for 36 straight hours.
The closing hours of the Trans-Amazon. And finally, on day 26, Buenos Aires, the Paris of Latin America. Arrival at the Automobile Club of Argentina. Of the 80 vehicles which started the race, only 4 cycles and 9 cars managed to classify, having completed the full 9,000 miles. Among the cyclists, Rob Shirley in the red is first. Robin Bennett in the blue is second.
We did it! We got here! Where are we?
Charlie Pete placed 4th, and Steve Malone of Glenville, Illinois took 3rd.
Okay.
Among the cars, first overall, Bernard Cobb of Venezuela with 2 hours advance. Colombia's Gustavo Yakima wins second. In 3rd place, and first among the Americans, Ken Walters and Ron Clybourne of Seattle. France's Michel Bartels wins 4th.
Salut Michel. Vous êtes arrivé. Tout allait bien? Tout allait très bien.
And 5th are Russell Gooding and co-pilot Roger Jenkins of England. 6th, the Sasio cousins from La Jolla, California. Several others make it through, although they do not classify. The official Tabasco pepper sauce team from New Orleans. The gutsy Super Gals win 8th, even though they had rolled their car the day before. Driver Marina Majima brings it over the finish line, her co-pilot still hospitalized in Bahia Blanca. And to everyone's surprise, Lorenzo Pearson and his Bugazon make it out of Bolivian custody just in time to join the festivities.
We miss you a little bit, huh?
Yes, Bolivia. We decided to tour Bolivia. Costs about $2,000 an hour, but you know, we're here. Good to see you.
The end of the first ever Trans-Amazon Rally Adventure, May 17th, 1988. An event certain to grow into the most exciting off-road race of its kind. For most of the competitors, the rally has presented the challenge of a lifetime. Flying home from Buenos Aires, we all dream of riding the roads in the high Andes again someday.